What type of pool guy are you? Keep it all nice wrapped up? Or do you leave it like this in the back of your truck? Today we're talking about draining and refilling a pool, in particular draining a pool, how to drain a pool. And I met Mike with Stay Fresh Pool Care, and we did a drain on this pool, and we learned some tips and some tricks. Overall, just how to do it and why to do it and when to do it. So check this out and see if there's anything that can help you in this, make your job more efficient, make things easier for you. If you learn one tip, then that's great. How to drain a pool. First, you will need to make sure that your power is shut off to the equipment and that the water supply is off. You don't want to be draining that pool and have that pump turn on, draining that pool and have the water refilling it, and your customer's calling you saying, hey, it's still filling while you're draining it. Can you come back? And you have to go back to shut that valve off for water fill. It just makes a mess. So always make sure that you do these steps. Make sure that you shut the power off and make sure that the water is off, so none of those are going to turn on while you're doing this service, and you'll be good to go. The way we drain pools mainly is submersible pump. We don't ever recommend using the equipment to drain the pool, although there might be places and areas where you might use the equipment to drain, like through the backwash or something like that. We never recommend that. Use a submersible pump, use the 2-inch backwash hose. Get the heavy duty backwash hose so you're not blowing any lines or anything like that. Everything that we talk about is in the links description below, so you can check those out and pick up anything that you might need to use to do this yourself or to set up and equip your truck to offer drains and refills to your customers. So there are a few reasons to drain a pool. Obviously, if you're going to work on the foundation, a chlorine rinse and acid wash, if you're going to retile, clean the tile, anything like that, you're going to want to drain the pool. But also, it is recommended to drain your pool. The norm says every 3 years, but in this video, you will see that we like to test the water to see when the draining is required. Mike does an awesome job. Mike doesn't just drop the pump in there, drain all the water out, come back, throw the hose in, still fill it. Hey, customer, call me when it's full, thanks. He actually cleans out the pots and the skimmer lines and all that, and he really does a great job. He really shows that he cares about his clients and the well-being of their pool. You can tell that he's passionate about his work. You can tell that he really wants to make sure that the customer is happy and that the pool is healthy at the end of this service. Another important part of draining this pool is making sure you know where the discharge water is going. You can get in trouble in an area like Arizona where you drain it into the street. The cities don't like that. It's not good for the reservoirs and whatnot. I don't really know the specifics on that. I just know that it's not okay to drain the pool in the street. You can get a permit to do this if you can't find any other way, or if you're on a septic or whatnot, but always make sure that you know where that discharge water is going and that you're not going to flood out the yard or flood out the neighbor's yard or anything like that. In this video, there are cleanouts in front of the house. Mike talks about where to put them. And then also, if you don't have the cleanouts, some guys do remove toilets and do it inside the house. That's really dangerous. So as simple as it sounds, draining and refilling a pool, there is some certain things that you need to be aware of before you do this to prevent any kind of damage or anything such as floods or anything like that. Another important step to know when you are draining a pool is the time of year. In plaster pools, we will not drain pools above 80 degrees because the plaster is at risk of popping or cracking. PebbleTech is pretty strong, although I know some guys try to put off draining the pools in the middle of the summer. In my personal opinion, we've drained pools all year round when they're PebbleTechs and never had an issue, so I'm okay dropping a pump in the middle of July or in August when it's extremely hot outside, getting that water gone and starting with fresh water. I don't know much about fiberglass pools, but I have heard that you do not want to drain that. So if this is a fiberglass pool, I do suggest that you do a little bit more research, call a professional in your area, or learn a little bit about that. If you are a pool service tech and you're draining pools, this is something that's good to add to your clients because stale water versus fresh water does make a difference. I know it sounds weird, but when your cyanuric acid levels, your hardness, your TDSs, calcium, all that stuff gets through the roof, sometimes it's better to drain the pool rather than try to treat it. And for something like cyanuric acid, there really isn't anything on the market to reduce that levels, although over the past few years, you can find products on the market that claim to do this. But It is extremely difficult, and you have to manage that water while you're treating the cyanuric acid, your chlorine, your pH. Everything has to be at a certain level when you're using this chemical, so it is easy just to drain and refill. There are alternatives to draining and refilling your pool, but in this particular video, we're going to talk specifically about how to drain your pool. So you want to drop the submersible pump in the deepest part of the pool. That way, when the water lowers, you're going to lower the most amount of water. That pump is connected to your 2-inch backwash line. We do use the stronger hose rather than the plastic rubbery type hose that tends to split or pop if it has too much resistance. So really invest in a good backwash hose to be able to drain pool. Also, a good thing to use is vacuum hoses. So if you have 2 of the 50-foot vacuum hoses, you could connect those together, and now you have 100 feet to get you all the way in front of the house or wherever you are draining that water. So first, just make sure that your power and your water is off. Set your pump, run your hose to the clean out, plug that puppy in and let it go. A lot of the pumps do have float valves on them, so when the water gets too low, it will shut the pump off and not have the pump running dry and burning up or breaking on you. Typically, pools take about 6 hours to drain. I know some guys out there have some gas-powered pumps and they're really pumping out some water. The standard pump that we typically use just on the back of our truck does pump out about 6 hours. 6 to 8 hours a pool will drain. It's rather quickly. And a lot of times what I personally like to do is, if I'm doing it for work, if you're a DIY guy, it's different. Service professional, what I like to do is I like to drain that pool first thing in the morning. So before I hit route or before I get on my repairs, I drop the pump, get everything set up, start draining. I'll go hit my route, go get everything taken care of, come back by the end of the day and then start filling. And that way you don't have to worry about your hose being out front or across the driveway where the customers have to drive over it and ruining your hose or anything like that. I really like that stack. I really like doing the pump in the morning, coming back, picking everything up, doing the clean or whatever you got to do, and then start filling that pool. I really want to say thank you to Mike. He was awesome at this. He's awesome at what he does and he likes what he does. Check this video out. Let me know what you think. Drop some comments below. Find us on Instagram and let's chat about it.
A year, you know, honestly there's so many. I'd have to look at my books to see how many pools we drain in a year. Yeah, I'm always dropping pumps. We drop pumps year round. I know a lot of guys out there are afraid to do that, but a lot of times that's the best option, you know, money wise, time wise. A pool's green, you can sit there and dump chemicals all day, and at the end of the day, us pool guys, we're going back to that pool, you know, 4 times in a week, where we could have just dropped a pump, drained the pool, had it back up and running with, you know, under 24 hours. Clients happier, they're back swimming in the pool a lot faster, and you get to start fresh, you know, instead of dosing the pool with a bunch of chemicals where, you know, you're just trying to avoid the inevitable and having to drain it anyways. Pools have to be, you know, with us, pools have to be drained every 2 years. Horrible. So, and then the chemical use that we have to use just makes it so that cyanuric acid just gets too hard, the water's too hard. So it just makes life easier for us pool guys and for the customer. Helps eliminate any problems if we just drain it every 2 years. You know, that's what we look for. If the cyanuric acid is high, we're draining the pool. You know, if the hardness is okay, we can deal with it, but you're going to get certain things, like you're going to get more of a calcium line on your tile. Things like that are going to build up a lot more. It's up to the customer. I'll give them that option that we could drain it, get the tile clean, and get rid of some of that hardness in the water. If they want to push it off a little bit, we can do that. What we won't push off is if that cyanuric acid is high. You know, if that's high, there's nothing we can do. We need to drain the pool and start fresh. In the beginning stages of just after draining the pool, as you know, the water's a lot more fragile. So we gotta get all the chemicals, the chlorine holding it in check. But maintain wise, after a drain, it's almost like a dream just taking care of the pool. It's a lot easier, a lot easier to maintain, stay on top of the pool, and things of that nature. If it hasn't been drained in a long time, you notice that we're going to be using a lot more chemicals on the pool just to keep it right. And it's just, for us, it just creates more time that we're going to have to deal with this pool, which it makes it so we can't take care of as many pools because we're spending so much more time on this one, where if it was drained in fresh water, it'd be a lot easier to do. I used to use all of the other hoses. I used to get like a typical backwash hose that you would get from, any of the pool store places, and I would drop a pump, and literally I would get a call maybe an hour, maybe 6 hours later, that the hose popped and water spraying everywhere. So I was like, all right, that doesn't work. Same thing, like those things over time they start to crack. These things right here, this hose will last me forever. Like when they get holes in them, they don't bust. They just like drip. It just comes out the seams, which won't cause any problems. The pool will still drain the same without causing any floods in a customer's yard. It's almost like a firefighter hose. It has a threaded material inside of it where it can expand, but it's not going to burst if it gets a hole in it. You can see like a couple spots I have a little bit of tape on there, and that's just I don't need to have the tape there. It's just so I don't see a little spray of water coming out. So I just cover it up that way. But this hose will last forever. I use it. I trade it out with customers that have DE filters or sand filters, and they have the typical backwash hose in there. I'll remove that. I'll cut off a piece of my hose because these come in a roll of 300 feet. I'll cut it and I'll put it on there, and they'll have that hose for 5-10 years. They'll have it forever, and it will never bust, and it won't cause a mess in their yard like all the other hoses will. So I use this pump. It's half horsepower. Works great. I know a lot of these pool guys out here, we use the little giants, and those are great pumps. But this bad boy right here is only $40, and it lasts me forever. I can use it on muck outs. I can use it on clean pools. It works all the same. I can pay a little bit extra and get a warranty on it if needed. These things are great though. For the price, I have like 5 of these. And they last forever for the most part. I get at least 2 years out of each of them. And for the money, it's worth every bit. Bombs away. Me to work with more than one pool guy, in this industry, and I don't think there's enough of that. I think a lot of these guys are out there and we're competitors, but we can work together to make more money together. So these are what are called cleanouts. This is where when draining a pool, you drain it into these cleanouts. There's always 2. Typically there's always 2. And how I've always been taught is that you set it into the drain that's closest to the house because it plumbs out to the street, and the one that's further from the house plumbs under the house, or however which way it goes. With what way this goes, I just know this one doesn't go under the house, and it plumbs out to the street, so that's why we set it there. A lot of cities are real sticklers too. If you don't have a clean out, contact the city, see what their ordinance is on draining a pool. Make sure you're okay to drain into the street so you don't get that homeowner hit with a fine. I know some cities, they can be pretty hefty. In like Chandler area, sometimes they're almost like $1,000 if you drain into the street. So make sure you got all that information together. And then if they don't have a clean out and you can't find it, when you talk to the city, they'll give you the okay. A lot of times if they don't, then you got to find a place to drain it in the yard. No, I mean, I have guys that I'll sub out to come and help me on jobs, but not like maintain my pools for me. You know, I don't have anyone for that. I maintain all my pools. I do all the work. You know, I'll have guys that will come out and like help me get jobs done, things like that, but no employees. I think it will be coming a lot sooner than I anticipate this year. Just making a lot of new relationships. I'm trying to get in with a few builders out there. All right, so when you're draining a pool, this is what you do. First thing is you make sure the power is off to all the equipment. If like this property right here, they have a breaker box at the equipment, so it can just turn the breaker off over there. If not, I always recommend that you go to the breaker box and turn off that power just to make sure that it doesn't get turned on. A customer doesn't come out here and touch something and turn on their pump. Power's off. Second step is make sure the water's off. So you'll go to where the hose bib is. There's always a line that comes off to the side, and that's your little handle. You turn that water off, and then the next thing you do is you get everything set. You get your pump hooked up with your hose, roll it all out, toss the pump inside the pool, make sure it's all hooked up to your clean out. The clean out's in the front of the house, usually located by the front window. If you can't find it there, ask the homeowner if they know where it is. If they don't, then there's other steps. Contact the city. They can help you find it if you don't know where to locate them on your own. So yeah, we don't typically do just drain and fills. We still will come in and do some kind of, whether it's with chemicals or not, we'll still do a rinse out. We'll clean out all the baskets. We'll clean behind the lights. We'll clean out the tank for your little water leveler tank. Make sure that's all cleaned out as always. Now, I used to do just drain and fills, but if I'm gonna come in here and drain it, clean it out, make sure everything is out of it. You know, the baskets are all clean. Like I clean out under the basket. Like I said, take the lights out. Yeah, we'll take out the drains on the bottom, make sure everything's cleaned out. No, we don't do that, man. You know, so we could do a drain and fill, and I know that takes care of it. I'd rather be precise and on top of everything. That way, especially if we're the ones servicing the pool, everything is taken care of. There's no questions asked later. You know, I'm not gonna have a customer contacting me and like, hey, you know, why when we turn the water on, when we turn on our auto leveler, a bunch of dirt blew into the pool. We eliminate any of those problems. That's why we don't do just a drain and clean or a drain and fill. We always do some type of cleaning, whether it's with chemicals or not. There's always some type of a little rinse to make sure that everything is perfect. When we fill this pool back up, it's ready to go. We set the garden hose, we put the garden hose in, and we turn on the auto leveler. Most importantly, the customer is responsible, so you have to communicate with them, let them know, hey, the pool is now filling. When the water reaches just under the tile, turn the hose off, let the autofill do the rest of the work. Once the pool is full, we come back, we pull the hose out, we wrap everything up, we always clean up everything. Autofill is set, we'll go and turn on your equipment, make sure everything's running right. Once that's all fully running, then we go the process of doing all the startup chemicals. From our conditioner, we add your conditioner, we add your chlorine tabs, and we also add some liquid chlorine that's as your jump start to jumpstart your chlorine levels. depending on, like this size of a pool, we'll add 1 gallon of liquid chlorine just for a jump start with the tabs and your pool conditioner. One of a great tip to always remember when adding pool conditioner, take out the basket in the pump. That way it doesn't clog up that basket. When you add it to the pool, you add it into the skimmer. You don't pour it into the pool. I know some guys do that. We don't, because it breaks down better being filtered through the pool. Because then you have to wait for it to dissolve and get in to filter into the pool, and it's not going to filter as fast as to running it through the actual filtering system. It will definitely, leaving it in the pool and letting it just sit, it can cause stains.
So how cool is that? Mike does an awesome job. True professional right there. You can really tell he's passionate about his work. He loves what he does. He takes care of his customer. He does the job right. He doesn't cut corners. Just an awesome pool service pro. So I hope that you found some good information on this video. I hope that you learned how to drain a pool, reasons why you would need to drain your pool. And if you're just a pool guy looking for entertainment, I hope this video entertained you. But I gotta roll this hose up and get started on another project out there. So I'm gonna get going, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please subscribe to our channel. Find us on Instagram. Like I said, there's links in the description below if you want to start draining pools yourself, or if you have to drain your pool. And we'll see you later. Just keep skimming. Just keep skimming them pools. Just keep skimming them. I'm gonna go skim a few. My guys are skimming pools, and just keep skimming. Thanks, guys.